Hey guys, and welcome back to Garden of Kaylin.
Where plants run free with jokes and clumsiness, let's make it green and wild in the Garden of Kaylin.
Hey guys, so the other day my friend came over here and she was looking at all of my plants and she's like, you definitely have a plant type. And I was kind of shocked because I was like, no, I don't. I have so many different plants around here. And she's not really as into plants as me. So she's like, they kind of just all look the same. So of course I was like, what about this one? What about this one? Like comparing two plants together, like holding them up. And she's like, well, I mean, up close, you could tell the differences, but as a whole, they all kind of look the same. And I realized like I do kind of have a plant type or plant types. So, and like I said, that's fine. And like I know some people who have cacti everywhere and I have like 10, if that. So I'm like, you know, everybody has their own thing. And another thought I had was, you do kind of have to get up on a plant sometimes to realize how cool it is. So here are a few plants that are way cooler than you think. But before we get started, hi, I'm Kayla and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome, and be sure to subscribe if plants are your vibe. So the Sangonia Mojito, the plant that I was so pressed to get just to bring it home and neglect it. But a quick fix to that was just putting it into this pot because it was drying out too much. And that was what I had a hard time staying on top of, was keeping it watered. It's such a thirsty Syngoniums. In fact, almost all of my Syngoniums are really thirsty, but this pot, which I love so much, saved the day. And funny story about this pot, I actually got it from my grandma and I saw one of her plants potted in. I was like, ooh, grandma, let me have that. She was like, no, I want my pot. But then the next time I went to see her, she had it in a grocery bag and was like, here, yes. I was like, finally. I miss my girl, but yeah, I really do love this pot. Anyway, the pot also made me want to display it more. So it's such a good like rounded pot and it's perfect for like a centerpiece or on my coffee table. So that is what initially got me to pay more attention to this. And then it started growing more and look at these leaves. It's like jungle camo, but marbled. And I love a marbled situation, let me tell you. And the color on the Sangonia Mojito is really stable. So I don't have to worry about like reverting or anything like that. And look how every single leaf is like slightly different, but they're all still gorgeous. And remember how I said I was ignoring it? Well, it's a really easy Syngonium. So I felt like, you know, it didn't need much for me, but they do need water apparently. So they kept like crisping up and I kept losing leaves because of that. But immediately when I started watering it more regularly, it just like spiked up and I've had to cut it a couple times. Like you see this stem right here, I'll likely cut that and put that into the pot. And y'all, propagating this is so easy that I just cut it right there where the roots are. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just cut it right there. And I literally use a pencil to dig a little hole and put it right back in the pot and it roots just like that. Like I don't even have to put it in water or anything. But can you imagine the leaves really big on this plant, which is why I really want to get it up on a trellis soon. But before I trellised it, I really wanted to get it fuller first. And you guys, oh my goodness, the Sangonia Mojito is so underrated. I feel like, I mean, I don't see them very often. And Syngoniums in general are super adaptable. So I can just let it trail out this pot. I can let it get big and bushy. I can put it up on a trellis. Like there's so many things that I can do with this and it would still look great. The Mojito is so well behaved. It just minds its business and continues growing. And I really couldn't ask for a better Syngonium, especially not with these beautiful leaves. So this plant here is the Parasia Auliata. And if you've never heard of it, welcome to the club. At least that's how I was at first. This plant is so weird, but in the best ways. And as you can see, it's growing right along and I have it trailing in my living room, which is the perfect spot for it. It may look like just a regular, you know, cute little trailing plant, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is actually a cactus. It has spines and everything. It just is a viney cactus. And I love how confusing this plant is because it keeps things interesting. So the Parasia Auliata is still considered like a primitive cactus because it still has leaves, which the original cacti had. And then most cacti drop their leaves and evolve to what they look like now. But the Parasia just never really like committed to the desert life. And this plant has been growing like a weed all summer long. You would think that since it's a cactus, it likes to dry out, but this plant really does not like to dry out completely. And if it does dry out completely, it certainly does not like to stay that way. And it's got these leathery, like glossy leaves that, I don't know, just give you jungle vibes, but the spines definitely still remind you that it's still a cactus, but the growth is so fast that it's scary. And I love that the new growth kind of comes in like a pinker tone, which you can really see more on the back. Look at that. It's so pretty, you guys. Oh my gosh. It reminds me of a sunset. If you give it something to climb or trowel on, it will absolutely take off. And this will likely never happen to me because I have mine growing indoors, but these actually produce an edible fruit called our Barbados gooseberry, if I'm not mistaken. It's an orange, like grape-sized little berry. I'm interested to see what those would taste like, but I also read that some places use the leaves, like eat the leaves at some point. I don't know. But at any rate, I really love this plant. I think it's so interesting in so many different ways. It's kind of mysterious. It kind of lives a double life. Like, I think this plant is passing. Do y'all know what I mean? Like, this plant is definitely passing. Like, we see you. So a few weeks ago, my husband came home and had this with him and told me that a lady at work gave it to him. And my first reaction was, a lady at who? But then my second reaction was like, let me see the plant. And this is what it was. It's labeled wild rose. And I tried to look it up, but a bunch of different things came up. Like, I don't know if this is some kind of succulent or what. Like, when I say I looked it up, literally there were things like things from bushes to succulents to everything in between. So I'm really still not sure. But I instantly kind of developed a sweet spot for this plant. I love how cute the leaves are, and I cannot wait to see what the flowers are gonna look like. Since I've had it, it's been a very fast grower. Like, it recently started growing out of the pot, and it's only been a few weeks since I got it, so it kind of throws me off. I don't know what to expect from it, and I'm kind of excited. Once I get flowers on here, I'll be able to identify it a little bit better. But if anybody knows what this is, like, I just wanted to throw it on here because I'm kind of smitten with it, and maybe one of you knows what it is. But so far it's been growing, and I'm just kind of waiting to see what it's gonna do. My Entherium windlingeri is my pride and joy right now, my golden child, my bread and butter, I mean, y'all get it. I love the plant, but I don't think it loves me back in the same way right now. It's not particularly fussy. It's just been incredibly slow. So I've had this leaf, like, I first noticed it popping up kind of like this one about 9 months ago. And it has taken this long to grow out and harden off. And I can definitely say that it is well worth the wait. These leaves are very firm and like very stiff, not really like the Pallidiflorum that kind of like flops around, but these are kind of like, you know what I mean? They're kind of hard. And I love that they're slightly ruffled. My assumption is the more mature this gets, the more pleated the leaves are. And that is definitely a feature that I love about this plant. I love how dark it is. Obviously, I'm obsessed with the strappy leaves, but it's like the Pallidiflorum with a twist. Pun intended, because the inflows that this develops are spiraled and it is just crazy. It hasn't happened to me just yet, but please believe it's gonna be all over my Instagram when it does finally happen. And I can't wait till the day I get another bigger leaf, because like I said, they take forever, and I really want one, you know, I really want them to start sizing up like past this point and really draping over my shelf. I'm really committed to this plant right now. When I first got it, I had the expectation that it wouldn't take that long to grow out, and that just hasn't been the case here. But I am definitely willing to wait on it. And the spiral inflows that come in on this aren't by accident. They are definitely by design. So the spiral flower really just helps to like increase the surface area, to increase the scent for pollinators. And it's so cool. I think it's so amazing that, I don't know, nature is just really cool. And like most Entheriums, this grows up trees in the wild. So it's definitely one that likes good airflow, good humidity, but doesn't like to have wet feet for too long. So I have to keep it in my handy dandy candle holder. It was a candle. And And I just bottom water it whenever I don't want it to dry out. It doesn't like to dry out at all. Like, in fact, I lost a little bit of this leaf right here from it drying out too much. So I do make sure that everything is good with this on a consistent basis. I wish I could put it in my cabinet, but I don't want it to get sun scorched, or there's no room for it really in any of the cabinets. Anyway, I just think this is such a cool Entherium. I think they're all cool, but this one, as far as the strappy ones are concerned, is my favorite. But I do wish that it grew a lot faster than it grows. So while this plant is taking its sweet time to grow, the next plant is the total opposite. This is my Delosperma, and honestly, when I first got this plant, I literally had zero expectations for it. I just saw it in a big box store hanging out, and I thought it looked interesting enough, so I got it. And it was the best $6 I ever spent, let me tell you. Originally, it was supposed to be like a filler plant, like just something to fill in a space. And I was trying to step outside of the plants that I normally get, since I get all of them the same, Mia. When it started growing, it kind of exceeded my expectations, and I kind of was like, I really love you a little bit. It's got the most adorable foliage. Like, the stems are chubby and so juicy. I think they're so cute. But they also have like these little hairs on them, which look like tiny little, I don't know, the plant just looks wet. I guess it looks like tiny little raindrops to me or something. It looks like dew is kind of sitting on the top of them. And it's almost like a little baby alien. I don't know. Or like, it reminds me of maybe some kind of Christmas tree. I don't know, but I thought it was so cute. And it may even look a little bit intimidating at first because it looks like, you know, like I said, like it has spikes, but it actually kind of tickles when you touch it. It's so cute. It's so cute. And I just imagine like a big drooping or a cascading pot like in front of my window. And I don't know if they kind of grow like shrubbery like, or if they kind of drop like the string of turtles. Do you get what I'm saying? But I think it would be very eye-catching once I get this to grow big. And I haven't gotten blooms on mine, but I have seen what they can do. And oh my gosh, you guys, they're the cutest little flowers that I absolutely love. I've seen them in, I think, yellow and pink, but they're little flowers. They're like cute and dainty. I can't wait for mine to flower. Why hasn't mine flowered? And it's such a cheerful little plant. Like, I put it in my cabinet recently. I've moved it around a lot, maybe like 3 or 4 times, and I haven't faced any issues from moving it. And I've adjusted the light up and down just kind of to see what it will tolerate, and nothing has happened. It has grown what seems like at the same rate no matter where I put it, but I do want it to grow nice and bushy and big. So I did put it right back up under a grow light, and it hasn't complained one time. But if you ever see one of these on clearance or like tucked away in a little corner, even if it doesn't look happy, because this one didn't look all that great when I got it, even if it looks pretty bad, bring it home. Like, these bounce back quick. Like, I just cut off all the dead stuff and gave it some water, put it under a light, and it took off. So if you see one, you need one. Now, I really feel like I love alocasias way more than they love me, but this Alicasia Scalp is one of the first alocasias that I feel like actually loves me back. And that is because it has been so easy for me. I did have to cut it completely back to just stems and roots and let it regrow, and it did so with no problems. And I have 2 plants in here, and they are both like growing new leaves at the same time, which is cool. But you guys, can we please can we talk about this color? Like, how am I getting this? And it's easy. It's an easy plant. I had 0 leaves on it. It was so beautiful before, and it had like massive long leaves, but something started happening. I really still don't know what. And it is having no problems returning back to its original glory. So the key to this is not letting it dry out too much, and also not letting it stay too wet. I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but if you get it, you get it. And look how gorgeous and dark these leaves are. In the light, they do look a little bit more green. I know I'm noticing that they look a little bit darker on camera, like they're basically black on camera, but in the light they are green. And then underneath is like purple. Do you see that? Like, look at the purple underneath the leaves. You guys, this plant is out of this world. I do see people with it, but I don't know. I feel like it's not hyped up enough because look at it and like it's easy. It has been for me. Like I need a little bit more drama around this plant. No, but seriously, it's inexpensive. I think they used to be a little bit pricey. Now I think, did I see this? I may have seen this at a big box store recently. I'm pretty sure I've seen them at big box stores now. So you know what that means. That usually means like, you know, you can get one for 20 bucks. And the big box stores, y'all, when they sell alocasias, like usually they have, you know, tons of spider mites on them, but usually they are super full and there's like 4 plants in the pot. So if you see this in a big box store, even if it looks not that great, bring it home, cut everything off and just let it regrow and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I'm definitely loving all the texture. And on this plant, like the texture also has texture. Like what in the world? This is a work of art. It almost looks like metal, like etched metal. It is so cool. And I really can't wait for this to come back around and get those really big leaves again. And you guys, I do not ever want to have to cut everything off on it again. So I'll probably never move it. Like I had moved it upstairs and that's when it kind of started to go downhill. So I will never do that again. I will keep it in my room forever now and hope that it will, I'm going to get this as big as I possibly can. Like I'm hoping I can get it as big as they get in nature. That's not going to happen. I am delusional, but a girl can dream. This is my Hoya mini Kintiana. And for reasons that I cannot explain, I have been ignoring this plant for so long. It just never stood out to me at first. And I think that that's because it came as like such a tiny, tiny little cutting, just one singular little cutting. And it took quite some time to start growing. But then I recently looked at it and I realized like, wow, you're kind of starting to, well, you are growing out of the pot now. I mean, yeah, I guess it just looks like another narrow leaf Hoya, but when you actually take the time to look at it, it's kind of adorable. The leaves are relatively long and narrow, but they have this little curve about them that gives them like such a dainty, adorable look. And the leaves get slightly tinted red when they're sun stressed, which is another cool feature about them. But overall, I just think the plant has such a graceful and classic look. She's been in the cabinet her entire stay here. And so she's obviously grown very well. She's got a lot of tendrils up here. So she's grown very well since I got it. But she's not even a snob who thinks she's better than everybody because she's in the cabinet. The mini Kintiana is just very down to earth. I think it will look great in a hanging basket. And I love how the leaves are dainty, but there's still like structure to them. They still are a little bit stiff. And I think it's just a very interesting take on a Hoya. Even though when I first got it online, it looked like a whole lot of nothing. The growth has just been so wild lately. It hasn't flowered or anything. But like I said, all of this growth has really just happened in like the last 6 months or so. And I did do some cutting in between just to get it fuller. Like I said, it was just like a tiny little cutting, but it has taken off. I see roots coming out of the container. So before you know it, I'm gonna have to repot this, but it's been really happy. I think it looks so amazing drooping over the little magnetic shelf that it's on. I think it adds such a great backdrop in my cabinet and it's perfect, but eventually it's going to overgrow it. And by eventually, I mean, probably soon it'll overgrow the spot that it's in, but it is such a cutie pie and I love it so much. Now, on the contrary, this plant is a little more like on the calm, quiet side. The Miranda Fantasy Light was actually one of the plants that I got out of like just pure curiosity. I just was curious about it. I couldn't really tell what it looked like because I got it as a seedling and the leaves were almost microscopic. In fact, I think I showed it on this channel before when it was just a little seedling and it may still be small, but it has really picked up growth. Oh, and another thing I noticed the other day, excuse me, like what are you don't even go here. I think that's just from me reusing the soil, but it's growing another leaf too. So now I'm like, oh, I don't really know what to do. I don't know what to do with you. I think this is an Alicasia Maharani in here. I don't know. A corn probably got stuck in the soil, whatever. But back when I first got this, the leaves felt so delicate and I was like scared to do anything to it. And I just really, really babied it. And recently, like this past spring, I was able to, let him leave the nest and grow and go out there on his own. And he's been doing really great since then. And I didn't even move it gradually. Like, I moved it very quickly from point A, which was in the cabinet with plenty of humidity that was constant, to outside in my living room on a shelf where the only light it gets is from a grow light. And it did not skip a beat. It continued growing. In fact, it seemed to like that spot better. And now it's starting to really show me what it can do. So what I love about the Miranda Fantasy Light is how, can you see that? How thin these little lines are. And on the back, I don't know if you can, I'll put a close up, but on the backs, like you can really see, it looks like somebody like etched this with a fine pencil with a bunch of like straight lines. It's so cool. And it's got this like understated elegance to it that isn't loud, but is hard to miss. It behaves very similar to my other Mirandas. So I just kind of have to leave all my Mirandas alone and they seem to thrive. As long as I don't let it stay dry too long, honestly, it is quite the breeze. And I know Mirandas get a little bit of a bad rep, but I feel like that is true, but about calatheas, and there's a difference between the two. So it's just yet another Miranda. And I really used to be like anti-Miranda, but recently, not even recently, within the last couple years, I've just been trying to get my hands on any one that I can find. And they're all so gorgeous and so unique in their own way. And this is, another example of that. When it folds up at night, oh my gosh, like you can really see the backs of the leaves. And to me, that is, I don't know if you can tell. Oh, no, it's going to be hard to see. But from the back where you can like just see a shadow of the color, I think it is so cool. And then of course, when they open up during the daytime, like, I don't know, the plant just has a mind of its own. And I love that. The opening and closing of the leaves is so simple, but it's such a sweet reminder that plants are alive and moving and doing their own thing, even when we're not looking. Now, this is my Filidendrin Geneviatum, and I think it's kind of ridiculous how small the pot is in comparison to how big the plant is. And it's also time to add another stake to it and probably repot it. But anyway, this plant is such a vibe. And if you were ever able to see it in person and like feel it, then I really feel like you would get a better idea of that. The stems are fuzzy and it is like legitimately velvet to the touch. And then of course the texture is all there all the way down. And there's a subtle like wave to the leaves that make it look like it's constantly like in motion. And I find this plant like kind of mysterious in a way, just because I don't know a whole lot about it. Like I'd never seen it before I got it. I haven't seen it since I got it. And I mean, I have obviously looked it up, but it just doesn't seem to be one of those well-known philodendron. And I kind of don't see why. Like, look at the shape of the leaf. And I love a long leaf that kind of has that heart shape at the top. So I don't know why this is so underlooked and underappreciated, but I'm definitely glad that I have it here. And the green is also a little bit on the darker side, which is really cool. Another thing that I love about it, I think it adds a lot of like the darkness and the texture, add a lot of contrast to the plant. So it's really neat. But this is definitely one of the plants that shows like I have a type, because I love like big leaf philodendron. I love textured philodendron, dark philodendron. I mean, I do have a type. That's all I'm saying. It's been surprisingly easy too. I didn't think it would be. Usually when I see like fuzzy petioles and like whenever I see that, I'm just kind of, I start to get a little bit iffy about it because I'm like, that's gonna need high humidity. It's gonna be fussy. And at first, honestly, it was like you can see right here, I did struggle a little bit with it at first, but once it adjusted, it just started putting out perfect leaves. Even though it is a little bit on the wilder side, that's just because I need to tame it and, regroup. Like there's a lot going on here, but it's been a very fast grower. I always forget to water it and it doesn't do anything. Like it just patiently waits on me to remember it's back there again. And I've got it just in this area right here next to me. So I don't know if the, conditions are just ideal because it's grouped with so many plants and there's grow lights and, plenty of humidity. But I can say that during the last winter, it seemed to do fine. So I don't know, maybe it was beginner's luck and this, cross my fingers, this winter it may not do as well, but so far it's been nonstop growth and perfection. But it's such an underrated plant in my collection. I wish more people like cared about this and paid attention to this. But it's just great and unbothered, and we love that around here. So I definitely showed this plant a couple videos ago, but I had to run it back. I had to run it back because what are you talking about? Look how freaking beautiful this is. So this is called the Moreria Vietnamesees, and I'm gonna have to practice that a little bit more before I get it together. But when I brought this plant home and I started actually filling the leaves, I was so blown away by just even at the bottom, just how fuzzy the plant is. I don't know if you can tell. Like you can't really tell that the plant is fuzzy. So it just really threw me off. And then of course the flowers, it had a few on it when I got it, but I was like, okay, the flowers are gonna die and I'm just gonna have these really sick leaves, like sick in a good way. And I think the leaves are really neat. So I was like, okay, but it just will not stop blooming, like nonstop blooms on here, you guys. Every time I see a flower, I see two more ready to bloom right after it. And the blooms don't last long, but it's always blooming. So it doesn't even matter. It's very thirsty though. Not my favorite thing. Like even now, the pot is, I don't know, I feel like I just watered this and the leaves are still looking slightly curled under. Like, can you see that? So I don't really know what, you know, if that's just part of it, but it kind of throws me off that I have all these blooms and the blooms are nonstop, you guys. I don't know if you can see that they're yellow on the inside. Oh my gosh, so pretty. But while the flowers are continuously and consistently blooming, I am getting a bunch of new foliage growth at the same time. And both of them are just rapid. This plant is a superpower. Like, what in the world is something out of Harry Potter? Like this is definitely out of Harry Potter where they like use the flower for some kind of spell or something. I don't know. It is an incredible plant. It does so much at the same time, all while maintaining this beauty. It's just crazy. Next is my Hoya Sagillatus Borneo. And I really was not sure about this plant when I first got it. Like it was on the biggest struggle bus ever when it arrived here, and it remained there for like 6 or 7 months. But then it started taking off and I started like really seeing what the leaves look like. And I was very impressed. So the normal Sagillatus, I believe, has like these longer, flatter leaves and the variegation is a little bit more prominent. Whereas this one is a lot more staticky, marbled, and like, I don't know, just kind of the same on every leaf. And the leaves also curl under, so it makes it look like really chubby and rounded off and a lot thicker than it actually is, but you can see it's just curled under. So it's really not that thick. It's kind of a bit of an optical illusion. And also it doesn't seem to sun stress. The green just seems to get darker, which makes the silver variegation on it, like that splashiness, just appear a little bit more vibrant. So I don't know, it's just been impressing me a little bit. And I really think that it's because of the growth, like how much this has grown. But everything, honestly, everything that I do, and I'm starting to wonder if this is just like its natural state, but everything that I do, the leaves just all seem to have like this thirsty look to them. Like, can you see? I know they're supposed to curl under a bit, but this seems very like exaggerated. So I water it, I don't water it, I've done everything, and it still kind of seems to have that leaf shape. It does have pretty decent roots on it, so I feel like it's healthy, but I don't know, it's just mysterious. It's a bit of a diva, honestly, but at least it's growing now. Before it wasn't doing anything but dropping leaves, so that was very frustrating. And now it's just taken off, and I feel like it would look really good on a trellis eventually. I did have it on a trellis, but it was more so like a stick, and that just wasn't working out. So I feel like once I do get this on like a U-shaped trellis and just have all the leaves face in one direction, that it's gonna be, I mean, it's already quite the vibe now, but it's going to be very interesting, I think. So the leaves kind of remind me of a longer version and a splashy version of the Hoya Bertoniae. Anyway, the Sagillatus Borneo, definitely hands down one of my favorite Hoyas in my collection. Just I'm probably not its favorite person in the world. So guys, that's it for today's video. But honestly, like when I was walking through to grab the plants, I was like, oh, I want to show them this one and this one. And I just feel like I have so many plants to show you guys and talk about. And thank God for this channel, because like I would not have anyone else to talk about my plants to. And y'all just get it. You just get it. Anyway, comment down below what your favorite plant in today's video was. And do you have any of them? Have you struggled with the same ones that I kind of struggle with? Let me know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching as usual. I love you so, so much, and I will see you in the next video.